Hey everybody, it's Lance Travis here. Hope you're all doing well. I'm doing a straight pour for you today, and I'm doing it on a 20 by 24 inch gallery wrap canvas, and I'm doing some springtime colors. I've been trying to stay on this springtime color palette. All the beautiful colors of the flowers that are starting to bud and to bloom are really the inspiration behind these colors that I'm going to be using today. I'll try and leave the colors in my description box, and I do know that I used TLP color there, and I used the Slick Piggy recipe from Massey Art Studios, and that worked really well, I found. And I used Athena. You can kind of see it there, the pinkish tone color that's kind of light, kind of dusty pink is Athena. And I will say that the Slick Piggy recipe worked very well. You will need to get Saxs True Flow acrylic gel medium if you want to do the Slick Piggy recipe. So I can leave a link for that, the Amazon link, in my description box as well. So you could type in Slick Piggy Massey Art Studio and find that recipe if you want to try it for yourself. Now, I'll talk about some things that I did do that I really liked, and then some things that I might have done a little differently. As you can see here, I'm varying the heights and the angle and position of the pour out of the cup. And I'm trying to, even in the beginning, if you notice, I kind of dumped it a little. And I'm kind of trying to create unusual shapes within this kind of pattern that gets poured out, so that when I do go to stretch it, I'll have more interesting shapes to work with. Because sometimes if you just leave it too fixed, you're gonna come out with a pattern that isn't quite as unusual when you're trying to stretch these bands out. Now, the thing that I would have done differently is when I was layering the cup, and you might have noticed when you were watching me, I didn't layer the cup with as thick layers as I would like to have. I would layer it a little thicker the next time around so that the bands kind of were a little wider and would lend themselves to being a little kind of, larger when and in design when the image is stretched out. I do like what's going on here, though. I thought there was some kind of interesting stuff happening here. As you can see, I wrecked it, and I didn't go too overboard. I try not to do too much when wrecking a pour, but just enough that it gives you some unusual, kind of shapes to work with. Okay, and as always when you're doing straight pours or ring pours, I'm trying to decide, especially in a straight pour, what sides do I have things going on that I really like, and what sides am I kind of like, don't really extremely love it. So I'm taking it off those sides first, and then I'm going to figure out how I can kind of work the paint, yes, from that side back to center, recenter it, then start to take it off to the sides where I had more going on. And I even wanted to try to keep some of the negative white space in this one. It was my goal to kind of do that and see what I get, and I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing. However, my goal was to sort of have a flower garden, and it looks like I have a vegetable garden. So I see some rutabagas, I see some turnips, I see some purple cabbage and some arugula, but I'm not seeing any flowers anywhere. So as funny as that sounds, I wasn't going after a vegetable garden, so I thought, well, this is interesting, but I'm not totally in love with it. And so you'll see me fiddle with it and finagle it and move it around a little bit and stare at it. And then I'm thinking, okay, Lance, what are you going to do next? And so I decide to get a little daring. And after I ponder for a little bit and recenter and try to look at it, I think, well, I'm going to be brave and try to put another cup together and maybe have a little bit more thickness of the bands and use more of the Athena and the gold and the Pearl Papaya and Amaranth Red that were mixed together so that I get more of that beautiful warm kind of coral color hopefully in the next pour. Now, if you're just joining our Monday evening fluid art train, Acrylic Painting with Julie E. Julie had a video at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you didn't catch her video, please go back and check it out. And after me will be Angie Mason Fluid Art at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time will be K&K Create. Please check everybody's videos out. I'm really excited to see what everybody's got in store for us this evening.
I hold on to this storm cause I need to be swept away, swept away. I'm cornered in the cold where you left me. Left again, left again. Oh, there's a jungle in my head growing wilder. I cannot let you go.
Well, Eureka! I think he's got it. Finally, I'm starting to layer that second cup and put those thicker layers with the more coral tones and the Athena and gold in there with a little bit more of a heavier set of bands. And you see me now, I'm starting to pour it, and already I'm starting to like what I'm seeing. It did work out, thankfully, that I got more interesting shapes and an interesting center out of this pour. And so my thought was this, I'm going to put an ink card of Kathleen Osmore's from Cause Creations, a video from a really long time ago where she did a reflected ring pour. It looked like two ring pours, but they looked like a reflection of each other. And I always love that. And this is what that is starting to remind me of. And the more I stretched it out, the more I thought, maybe I can make this look like a pool. So it will have a little bit more of an oval shape to it, and to see if I can get it to stretch across the canvas and open up, but still retain this kind of pool-like shape that looks a little bit more 3D, like it is set back into the canvas at an angle. So you're looking at this reflective kind of ethereal looking pool at an angle within the pour. So essentially it's a pour within a pour, and thereby I'm trying to create now a more interesting focal point, and I feel like that's what I'm getting. Now I am sacrificing the shapes of the other things that were going on, but I kind of like that. I think it kind of gives a cool backdrop to this pool that this pour made, and I'm really loving it. I really think it's a pretty cool image that really came out in the end. I'm very satisfied with that, and it's always a risk when you do this. You're really rolling the dice on, it could be disaster and it could be time to scrape the canvas, but in this case it really worked out for the better, and I really love the image that I got, and I think that it's pretty beautiful and pretty ethereal, and just pretty, all the fingerling shapes, and it just looks to me like a water or some kind of really cool, almost sunset-like reflected pool. Now, if you found this video entertaining or informative, please give me a thumbs up. Hit that thumbs up button and like the video. And when you do, please subscribe to my channel and ring the bell so you'll be alerted when I post new videos. and leave me a comment because I'd really love to hear from you. Remember, after me is Angie Mason Fluid Art. I can't wait to see what beautiful artwork Angie's doing this evening.
When you're
Well, I hope you've enjoyed my ethereal pour within a pour this evening. And as always, I'd like to thank you for watching, and please come back and visit me again so we can have some more fun pouring together.